Hello YouTube and welcome to another video with me, Benjamin Abba. I'm a Metro blogger and freelance writer, and I'll be going over my thoughts on the best and worst of this week's nerd culture. I do apologise in advance, my brains are a little bit scrambled because I've been doing a lot of blogging, a lot of newsletter writing and a lot of pitches this week, so let's dive straight in while I'm still semi-coherent. Something that really blew me away this week was The Wolf Among Us, Telltale's latest game. They obviously made the Walking Dead game series, and now, while it's a bit of a harder sell than The Walking Dead, you are the sheriff of a town of fables, in other words fairy tales, who've come over into our world. As far as I'm aware, it's set in 80s New York, and your job is to make sure that the mundane people, us in other words, don't find out who they are and to stop them from tearing each other apart, really. And I think actually, I believe it might be a stronger start than The Walking Dead's, which says a lot, to be honest, considering how strong that series was. I think that really comes down to how well this is scripted. Now obviously they do have the advantage of being able to draw on the Fables comic series, which this is based upon, but already the characters are fantastically well realised. There's a lot of mystery and I suppose suspense in the fact that you are chasing down a serial killer and finding out who it is, what they're really after, and sort of trying to untangle all of the I suppose various conspiracies that make up the majority of this episode. It's just a fantastic ride that I think personally has far more going for it than episode 1 of The Walking Dead. Again, that was a very good, strong start, so I think that tells you everything you need to know. Also, I was very surprised by its visuals. Now, it's very similar to The Walking Dead, but they've really nailed it this time with sort of the bright neon sort of colour palette, and they're kind of not afraid to have flat backgrounds this time. It feels very comic booky, in inverted commas, because a lot of the, say, trees or buildings in the background are 2D, but it looks fantastic. It looks genuinely like you're walking through the comic book. And the soundtrack is also excellent. That really helps set the mood because this is a noir piece, and it really kind of dances between the tropes of that genre and some quite big surprises that I wasn't expecting, especially with its moral choices. Now obviously Telltale, this is where they excel. They kind of proved that with The Walking Dead, and this time it's not quite so. Say for instance, in Walking Dead episode 1, a lot of your choices boil down to who do you want to save, this person or this person, and this time it's kind of less of that. It's more, well, where do you want to investigate first, and what kind of a sheriff do you want to be? Do you want to be a bad cop? Do you want to be a good cop? And as The Walking Dead proved, this will influence how people perceive you in later episodes. And so that's it, and genuinely they really don't pull any punches with their surprises in this episode. There are lots of shocks, and even if you've read the comic book series, I've heard that apparently there's plenty in there to surprise you. Even if you're familiar with the storyline. This is kind of a prequel, so I suppose you could say, well, what could possibly happen to these characters? I already know where the end of their story is, but this really does throw in a few spanners into the works, which is nice. And I think something this did excellently was the action. It kind of operates in a very similar way to The Walking Dead. Say you have a directional kind of moves with the stick to dodge out of the way of blows, and you've got to put your cursor over a certain area to try and punch an enemy or to hit them or to block them. And because it's all so manic, everything's moving so fast, and it's kind of quite a desperate struggle to get your cursor into the right place and to then hit the right button, it really kind of adds a sense of urgency to it that I think really works in its favour. So if you haven't downloaded it yet, definitely do so. It's out on Xbox 360, PSN and PC. It's around $3.99 as far as I'm aware, so definitely pick that up. You can also pick up the season pass for $15.99. By the strength of this first episode, I'd say that's well worth doing. So, second on my list would be the Superior Spider-Man, actually. Now, I'm going to be going into spoiler territory here a little bit, so if you've not been picked up the latest issue yet, then make sure you skip this bit, because I will be going into the kind of the big twists of issue 19, which came out last week. So, obviously everyone knows that Otto Octavius, he killed off Peter Parker, swapped bodies with him, and so now he's running around as Spider-Man. And a lot of people were very angry about that, because not only did Dan Slott kill off Peter Parker, he also managed to kill him off twice by having Peter Parker's memories still in the body of Spider-Man, kind of almost becoming sentient. And so Dr. Octopus had to kill those memories off, and so essentially Peter died twice. Except now, in this issue, where everything with the 2099 Spider-Man storyline, Spider-Man from the future has come to the present to try and stop a paradox, and essentially save himself and his father. But with this one, really, there isn't kind of a happy ending, which is brilliant, because I was expecting it to be a case of, oh, he'll save the day and it'll all be, it'll all end really nicely, the two Spider-Men will realise they have to work together and the day will be saved, except that really isn't what happens. It's, Spider-Man 2099 gets stuck in the present, so he's clearly going to have his own series, I'd imagine. That I really wouldn't be surprised if we saw a spin-off Spider-Man 2099 set in the current day. And obviously one of the big moments is when Otto realises that he can't save the day. He fails where Peter succeeded in trying to find an equation to try and stop this time door from breaking down and completely obliterating everything. And he kind of realises he may possibly be the inferior Spider-Man instead of the superior Spider-Man. And when he's kind of desperately digging through all of his memories to see if he can find out how Peter did it last time, he potentially has reawoken that fragment of Peter Parker that he killed off before, because there are a couple of panels where it seems to be a silhouette climbing out of the rubble, kind of knocking rubble away, and that's exactly how Peter was left last time, where he was crushed by falling rubble, kind of almost in the mindscape, and so this kind of clearly indicates that he's come back. Now, I'm not really sure how to feel about that. I'm pleased, and that's kind of a really cool moment, but we don't get anything more than that. We have no idea whether that really is him, and how that's going to affect him going forward, because Dr. Octopus killed off all of his memories, so he can't remember anything, really. He can barely even remember who he is. So if potentially that Peter Parker manages to win his body back, then what kind of situation is that going to leave us in, sort of going into the future? So it's just a beautiful moral quandary. It's a real grey area, and I'm really glad that the writer Dan Slott is kind of digging into that with such kind of abandon. We're going to find out more, sort of, I suppose, in a couple of months, probably more toward February time. Apparently, that's when everything's really coming to a head, and with sort of police officer Carly Cooper sort of on the case of Otto Octavius, she suspects that he is actually not Spider-Man, and she's been kind of chasing up lots of leads. And now, yeah, she's really one step closer to proving that this isn't actually Peter Parker, like everyone suspects, which is it's almost a shame, because I'm almost sad to see Otto moving toward the exit, as it were, because I really think that's where we're going now. Is we're moving toward Superior Spider-Man handing the reins back to Peter Parker, and while I'll be pleased to see him back, at the same time I think there are some great stories to be told still, so I'm hoping that we've got a little bit of life left in him. I know he's still there until February, but I'm just hoping he lasts a little bit longer beyond that. Now, the bad. So, delays would have to be my main gripe with this month. I think we've had 3 delays so far. We've had Watch Dogs from Ubisoft, we've had, I think it's The Crew from Ubisoft has also been delayed, and also Drive Club, the PS4 exclusive, which was going to be, well, a version of it was going to be free for PlayStation Plus subscribers. And that is now pushed back to 2014, which is such a shame. It's feeling increasingly like there isn't enough reason to upgrade. I've been feeling this for a little bit. When I went to Eurogamer Expo, while it was fantastic to get our hands on the next gen, there wasn't anything that absolutely blew my mind. I really enjoyed Killzone Shadow of War. You can read my preview in Metro. But no, I just wasn't... I didn't find a killer app. I think it says a lot that I was far more excited for Super Mario 3D World for the Wii U. Genuinely, that is absolutely up my street, and I would buy a Wii U for that. Whereas with the PS4 and the Xbox One, there's nothing really striking me that I desperately want to upgrade. Which is a real shame, but we do have a lot of quality titles coming up down the road. We have Witcher 3, we have Fable Legends, we have obviously the next Uncharted, which is sure to be coming down the road at some point. We've got Infamous Second Son. Yeah, we've got plenty to look forward to, but at the moment I'm not sure if there's enough reason to upgrade. And obviously with Watch Dogs, one of the big kind of poster child next-gen games being delayed until 2014, it's kind of taking away another reason to kind of upgrade from our Xbox 360s or PS3s. Anyway, enough moaning. So I'm gonna head off now. Thank you for watching. If you want to get more of my thoughts on games and general other nonsense, you can go to my Metro blog. Basically, if you type in Benjamin Abbott Metro blog on Google, you should be able to find it. You can also follow me on Twitter at TheWordyBen. And finally, I did record a new podcast yesterday with my good friends Ben Fox, Sean Greenhalgh and Sam Chapman on, it's kind of our love letter to the Zelda franchise. That'll be up on artisticplaynetwork.com very soon. I'll be editing it up. It'll also be on SoundCloud and on iTunes, hopefully within a couple of days. So make sure you look out for that. Let me know what you think, and if you like this video, like, subscribe, comment, whatever. You know how it works by now. I will catch you again. Have a good one. Catch you later.